This is a very quick fusion practice for your follicular phase. In this practice, we are using the container of yoga. We're using different postures to awaken energy in the body. And we're also adding the option for some resistance. So if you have very light weights, something on the order of 1 to 5 pounds, you can incorporate those into your practice for a bit of fusion where we're combining the strength and the balance of a yoga practice with a bit of resistance so that we can tap into kind of deeper levels of strength. If you have wrist weights or ankle weights, those work great for this practice as well. Something very light, so just adding a bit to the body weight practice. We are keeping this one short today, so it does move in a quick, fluid pace. And we're using something that was taught to me by my teacher, Shiva Rea, called pulsation, where we take two postures and we kind of find the depth of the movement and sort of pulse there to build energy, to create heat, and to cultivate strength. So we're working through a very brief sequence, but then pausing in those transitions where we will pulse between postures or between parts of the posture. So I'll be guiding you through, but just stay present, stay focused. We are working into single leg balance postures, this is a great time in the cycle to practice those skills. So be gentle with yourself. Allow yourself to fall out if you lose your balance, and notice what that's telling you about your mental focus. When your mind starts to wander, does the balance become more challenging, or do you lose your balance? How can you stay focused? How can you pay attention to your breath to keep you here anchored in the present moment? That's part of this practice that makes this movement medicine. It's connecting and creating union between mind and body. So for today, all you'll need is your mat. If you want weights, you can grab those now, and let's get started. Let's begin our practice for today. As you heard in the intro, you might choose to use some very light hand or wrist weights for this practice. You can even add ankle weights if that suits you. I'd recommend nothing heavier than 1 to 5 pounds. 5 pounds is probably going a little bit heavy for this. I've got 3-pound hand weights here that I'll be using and dropping if needed throughout. This is a quick, energizing practice, so we'll get started right away. Find a standing position with your feet about hips width distance apart. Wiggle your shoulders, your hips, and just sort of allow your mind and body to arrive in the same space. As we're ready, we will connect mind and body through the vehicle of the breath. So inhale, take your arms out and wide, send your gaze slightly up. Just enjoy 3 rounds of breath here. Exhale, let your arms circle out and down. Twice more like that. Inhale, deep breath through the nose. Root down and lift up. Exhale, arms back down by your sides. Last breath like this. Inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, let the arms come down by your sides. If it's comfortable in your hips and legs, bring the big toes to touch. Keep the outer edges of the feet parallel. That means there will be a slight space between your heels. From here, inhale, reach the arms overhead. Keep the arms lifting, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Draw the low ribs and hip points together and broaden across the chest. With your next exhale, begin to sink the hips down and back into chair pose. Find your breath here. Notice the iterative process that comes with this alignment. So draw the hip bones and low ribs together and then lift up through the heart. If that puffs the low ribs, reconnect to the belly and lift once again until you feel your strong alignment in chair. Big inhale breath here. And as you exhale, lift up, lean over to the right. We'll alternate sides here. Inhale through chair. Exhale up and over to the left. Inhale, chair pose, and exhale, side bend. Really lift up and out of the hips here to the other side, lengthening the arms. This time, as you bend to the side, hold here for a breath or two. If you have the weights in your hands, use the gravity, that load to help draw the body into the side bend and root evenly through both sides, both feet. Inhale, come up through center, through chair. And as you exhale to the other side, hold here just a breath or two. Inhale through chair. And as you exhale, sink a little bit lower. Bring either hands to heart or the weights right at your chest in your heart space. Big inhale breath here. And then as you exhale, we'll rotate to the right. So you'll twist your body first. Squeeze the inner thighs to the midline, create that anchor point. And then once you feel you've twisted as far as you can, you've rotated as far as your body can go, then hook the elbow to the outer knee. So we're taking the left elbow to the outer right knee. Press your top hand into the bottom hand to leverage a deeper twist. Sink your hip creases back and down, and then squeeze the inner knees, inner thighs, inner shins, big toes to the midline. Wrap the left low ribs underneath you. Maybe send your gaze skyward. With your next inhale, gaze toward the floor. Come out through chair pose, reach the arms up. Exhale, sink low. Bring your hands to your heart. Big breath here. And with your next breath out, twist now to the left. Bring your right elbow toward the outer left knee. Coil through the belly, keep that connection, and then begin to hook the elbow to the outside. Press your top hand into your bottom hand here and rotate. See if you can square the hips to the front of your mat. Maybe send the gaze skyward. And as you inhale, come back through chair here, and we'll start a bit of a flow. So find this rhythm here. We're coming into chair and then exhaling half chair, sweep the arms back, the belly marries the thighs. Inhale, chair, and exhale, half chair. Inhale, and exhale. You can find that strong breath. Our aim here is to energize, so we will feel the heart rate elevate. Last one like this. As you come up this time, bring your right knee to your chest, and then half chair, sweep the arms back. Inhale, left knee to chest, and exhale, sweep the arms back. So we're finding this rhythmic pace throughout this very quick practice. The next time your right knee is lifted, pause there. Keep the arms overhead. Root down through your standing leg. And as you exhale, come into airplane pose. So the arms and right leg reach back. We'll be here now. Finding this rhythm, knee lifts up, and then exhale, airplane. Working into standing balance here requires that your mind be focused. Last one here, inhale. And as you exhale, transition through half chair to the second side. Left knee hugs in. Airplane now with the left leg reaching back, arms stretch behind you. Inhale, knee to chest, arms reach. Exhale, extend. Reach the crown away from the toes, square the hips. Inhale. So as you come through airplane, imagine wrapping your inner left thigh up in space. And come up. Half chair now, both feet touch down, sweep the arms back. We'll come to the right side again, adding on. Find your crane pose here, knee lifted. With your next exhale breath, sweep the arms and right leg behind you. And this time as the arms come overhead, take the back toes down, find leaning lunge. So these long lines in the body really reach through the arms. Big inhale breath. Now our new rhythm, our new pulsation, as you exhale, draw the elbows back, knee forward. Inhale, leaning lunge. Exhale, find that power. Inhale, reach. And exhale, elbows back, knee forward. Last three here. Inhale and exhale. Last two and one. Find your leaning lunge here. Begin to bring the spine upright, stretch up through the arms, melt down through the hips. So you find this deep separation between the thigh bones. You can add a gentle bend into the back knee if that feels more supportive, or really strengthen that back leg, feel the buoyancy in the right thigh. From here, we're just tapping the back knee down as we move the arms into a cactus shape. So it looks like this. We exhale, come down, elbows to the shoulder height, and press up. So we come down and exhale. Lower the knee to hover and press back up. So feel the strength in that front thigh, the spine nice and tall from the sitting bones all the way to the crown, drawing the low ribs and the hip points into each other to keep the belly integrated. Last 5. Feel your breath. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come up here, and with your exhale, let your hands come down to frame your front foot. Find that deep lunge. So if this is cumbersome or uncomfortable to keep the weights, you can set them off to the side. Otherwise, keeping them here. Send your chest and heart forward. Melt down through the front thigh, through the front hip crease, and then elevate the back thigh. So feel a buoyancy in the right leg. From here, big inhale breath. As you exhale, tap your right knee to your left calf. Inhale, re-extend. Exhale, tap. Feel the strength in that front leg. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, reach, and exhale, tap. Last 3 here. 3, 2, keep the heart stretching forward, and 1. Pause here in this deep lunge. I'm going to set my weights off to the side just for this next series of pulsation. So let your hands plant down, step back into downward dog. Our first entry to downward dog, let it be gentle. So you can let the heels lift, bend the knees deeply, soften the belly toward the thighs. Press down through all 10 finger pads, stretch the hands down and forward, and then lift the hip creases up and back. Can you soften the shoulder blades toward your hips? Create lots of space in the neck. And then let your head and neck hang heavy so they're a natural extension of your spine, neither looking forward or tucking in. Our next rhythm here, as you inhale, bring your knees down just to hover, shoulders over the wrists, draw that belly in, so hip points and low ribs together. And exhale, downward dog. Inhale, come to hover, feel the waves of your spine. Exhale, downward dog. We'll be here for a few rounds of breath, seeing if you can drop into the moving meditation as we find this pulsation and rhythmic flow. Can you sort of let your body guide the movement? Once it finds that rhythm, it knows where to go. Last one like this. Come into downward dog. As you gaze between your thumbs, step your hands slightly closer together. Bend the knees deeply here. And then with an exhale, step your feet to the outsides of your hands. Come into a squat. So our next pulsation, transitioning from downward dog to a squat, forward and back. So hands touch down, step back into downward dog, and then gaze forward, hands step forward, lift into your squat. We'll be here for 3 more. Using your breath, finding your pace. Don't worry if it's faster or slower than mine. Last 2, stepping forward into your squat and back to downward dog. Last one, pause here in the deep squat. So your squat might mean the heels are lifted, don't sweat it, just really working into the mobility in the ankles. Press your palms together, soften the shoulders away from the ears. And then here, if you have your weights and you want to continue using them, grab them now. I'll turn to face you for our next movement rhythm pulsation. So we're going around the world from our squat to upward hands. So as you inhale, rise up, arms wide and out, and exhale, come down. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, squat deeply. Keep your chest and heart elevated. Inhale, and exhale. Last 3 here. Taking the arms out and wide, and exhale. 2, and 1. Coming down into your squat, and then slowly rising back up. Let your hands come down by your sides. Come to the top of my mat once again. You can join me there. Shaking it out, just feeling that kind of settling of the energy from the first side. Once again, bringing your big toes to touch. if that feels comfortable in your hips, keeping a slight space between your heels. We'll move into the second side and see if you can let go of any expectation. Really just be present and drop into the flow now that you know what's coming. With your next inhale, chair pose, sit the hips back, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, half chair. Inhale, the left knee comes with you, standing crane. And exhale, airplane pose, sweep the left leg, arms back. This time as you sweep your arms forward, let the left toes touch down in leaning lunge. Find that strong, powerful lunge here. Use the strength in the arms to reach them out away from you. Big inhale. And then as you exhale, elbows back, left knee forward, come into this crouching crane pose. Inhale, reach, leaning lunge. Exhale. So we'll be here for several rounds of breath, connecting to your strength. So finding that wave of energy, draw it in and then radiate out. So gather your strength here and then send it out in all directions. Last 3, 2, and 1. Pause here. And then slowly let your hands touch down. Come into your nice strong lunge. And then as you're ready, gather your breath. We'll come up into a crescent lunge. So here you can keep a gentle bend in the back knee if that feels good, or create that strong straight back leg. We're simply pulsing the back knee up and down with a cactus pulse in the arms. So it looks like this. We inhale and exhale. Inhale down, exhale up. As you inhale, elbows come level with the shoulders and we press up, creating some strength in that front leg, keeping that axis of the spine, hips to crown, nice and even, moves as a unit so we're not leaning forward or back. Last 3, 2, and 1. From here, the weights touch down. You can rock it out a bit, release that front thigh, and then send your heart forward. Keep that nice, strong separation between the thigh bones. And then as you exhale, shift the weight into the right foot, tap left knee to right calf. Inhale, step back. Exhale, tap. Inhale, exhale. So find your breath here, make it work for you. Trying to keep the chest and heart elevated. Let's do 5 more. 5, 4, keep the belly strong. 3, 2, and 1. Come back into your lunge here. I'm going to set the weights off to the side for this next round, stepping into downward dog. Find your breath here and just let it settle for a few rounds. And then we're coming into something of a launch sequence. So as you inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees deeply, bring your belly toward your thighs. And then on the exhale, powerfully launch forward into plank. So you inhale, gather strength. Exhale, come forward. Shoulders over the wrists. Feel that steady alignment as you lock the arms into place. Micro bend in the elbows so we're not collapsing into that joint. Last 3 here. 2. Last 1. Find downward dog. Pedal out the feet. Collect your breath just for a moment or 2. And then here, we'll gaze forward between the hands. Step your hands a little bit closer together. So you can stay with the rhythm that we had before, stepping the feet forward and back. Or if you want to turn up the heat a little bit, bend the knees, lift the heels, hop the feet to the hands. Lift the hands into a squat and back to downward dog. Bend the knees, lift the heels, hop the feet to hands, squat, and float back to downward dog. So we'll be here finding your rhythm, hopping the feet. You want to aim for that little bit of hang time as you hop back and forward. And then if you want to really feel some heat and breath, take out the transition. So join them, the two movements in one fluid flow. So hopping forward, back, knees bend, hop forward, back, and launch. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. Pause in your squat here. You should feel that flood of energy as you move the body and open pathways for energy to flow. So gathering here, collecting your breath. We'll enjoy a few rounds of around the world as we did on side 1. I'll turn to face you here. So you can grab your weights if you have them, reaching out and around on the inhale and coming back down on the exhale. Using the full length of your breath through each movement, through each pulsation, and kind of taking out the hard edges. So really allowing these movements to flow into each other like a wave. Last 3. 2. And 1. Pause at the top. Let your arms rest by your sides. I'll turn to face the short edge of the mat once again. Bring your big toes to touch. Slight gap between the heels. Come back into chair once again. As you inhale, sink the hips down. Reach the arms high. From here, lift your heels. Bring your hands to your heart. Slowly lower your hips to your heels. And then if you need the support of your hands on the mat, find them on either side. We're transitioning to a seat. Coming straight into boat pose. So legs and arms lift. Different variations for boat pose here. You can have the legs straight, the knees bent. You can also support your hands on either side if you're finding that your chest is rounding or collapsing. So we're here. We're going to tap the toes one at a time, touch down and back, reaching the arms toward those big toes here, keeping the chest elevated. Maybe lift the corners of your mouth into a smile. Spread the toes like you're radiating energy out. Keep the belly hugging in. Catch your balance if you need to. Last few reps here. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly lower down. You can bring the weights with you if you like. We're coming into bridge pose. So if you have the weights, you might choose to bring them to your hip creases. Feel the shoulder blades melt onto the ground. Your feet are parallel, about hips width distance apart. We're simply going to lift, contract the glutes, squeeze energy to the midline, and lower. So keep the low spine neutral here. We're not moving into a very deep back bend. Instead, we're focusing more on strengthening the posterior chain, contracting in the glutes. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it here. Start to shift the weight into your left foot. Spread the toes. Feel all 4 corners of your left foot melt into the mat. Then begin to extend your right leg up. You can take or leave the weights here. Simply lift and lower. So down and up. That leg moves straight up and down. So you're finding that mobility in the spine that allows for this range of motion. Last 5, 4, try not to grip with the left toes. 3, 2, and 1. Let the right foot come down. Transition now to the left side, moving down and up. So keep your low ribs and your hip points magnetized together. This is our last Really invigorating movement pattern, rhythm before we come down. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower both feet to the earth. You can set your weights off to the side if you have them. Take your feet to the wide edges of your mat and windshield wiper side to side. And then we'll slowly hug the knees into chest. And just make tiny circles, one direction and then the other. So a very quick practice here, just enough to get circulation moving, to get energy flowing. Maybe a bit of a sweat. Keep your right knee into your chest, extend your left leg long, and then send your right knee over to the left. Gaze over right shoulder. You can reach that right arm out to T. Let this be a passive twist, so really softening the belly, allowing gravity to draw your right knee down to the earth. Find a gentle tone in the low belly to switch sides as you come through center. Hugging left knee into chest, right leg extends. Take your left knee over to the right, gaze over your left shoulder. Again here, trying to release any gripping in the low back, in the low belly. Just let it soften. And then coming through center, one big breath here, rounding in, giving yourself a squeeze. And then just a moment or two in this reclined pose, let the soles of your feet touch, knees come wide apart. Bring a hand to heart, a hand to belly. You might let your eyes soften and close. And just breathe. Give yourself the next minute or so to simply be present. Rest your awareness on the body. Where do you feel heat? Where do you feel sensation? Where can you experience your breath moving in and out of the body? Can you infuse your entire physical being with intention? Making a choice about how you want to feel. As if it's already happened. Can you rest in that sensation, what that might feel like to inhabit your body, be it joy, enthusiasm, excitement, peace, calm, ease. Really create that for yourself here as you transition. And slowly bring your knees back into your chest. You can rock and roll up to a comfortable seat. We'll close our practice together. So just giving yourself pause at each new transition. So from your back now to seated, just letting yourself observe how you feel, what has changed, what has shifted for you. And I want to thank you so much for showing up today and for letting your body be moved.